As a part of the economics of intellectual property right, this lecture is the last lecture to understand what economics of industrial design is and how this is different from other intellectual property rights. So, let me begin with what is basically the industrial design. Industrial design considered as an ornamental or aesthetic facets of a commodity which is covered under the umbrella of industrial design. It may include 3D or 2D characteristics of a commodity, which includes shape, color, curves, lines or specific patterns. So, in general we can say that industrial design are basically the shape, colors, sketch, lines, curves and some of the patterns, which is mainly used before producing any product to the market, especially in the industrial sector. So, why industrial design is important? When we have this question that why ID is important, if we have this question that why ID is important, we have few things in our mind that first of all, before manufacturing any product, it is indeed important to have the industrial design. Why? Because for the mass production, for the mass manufacturing of the product, it is indeed important to design the product before launching the product in the market. And why it is important? Because today whether it is electronic goods or whether it is furnitures or some of the office materials, office furnitures or maybe the textile or any other industry which needs certain patterns, certain sketch, certain drawing. Without that it is not so easy for convincing the customers in the market, because you have to compete with the existing product available in the market, and for competing with those products you have to have a pre-designed or planned way to compete with other manufacturers available in the market. So, this is the first point that industrial design helps in manufacturing any product, especially for any product for the mass production. Mass production, because today when we produce something, we do not produce something, especially the big companies, multinational companies, if they really launch a product, do not launch a product. If a car is manufactured, a car is not manufactured for a small domestic market today. We do consider the international customers available in the market outside the country. So, industrial design, a good industrial design is convincing the customers and challenging other producers available in the market. So, it is really important, one of the important intellectual property right, which really carry the growth of the industry, really carry the growth of a manufacturer, not only to the domestic market, but to the international market. The second point, which is equally important, is technology and function of a product does not guarantee the sustained competitive advantage in the market. So, what technology we are using, what type of functions we are performing to launch a product, to produce a product, it is not the technology which is very important, but it is the technology which is added with the industrial design component before launching, before producing the product. So, the industrial design is the key to solve many problems related to the production, many problems related to the marketization of the product, and we cannot really say that if we have a market share for a product, suppose during 1980s that or during 1990s, that would have been the share for the similar firm in coming 20 years, because you have to have a new industrial design in your hand, then only you will be able to really grow ahead, because you are not alone the producer available in the market, but there are other large number of producers in each sector. Market is really imperfectly competitive market, and in that case you have to have a very a small sense of security with you, because more you are insecure, more you are running your industrial design on a very faster scale, you will certainly have more important role to play in the global market. So, to get the adequate market share, industrial design, as I have said, that industrial design is complementing the technology which a firm is having. So, it is really making us more active, more prompt to have the to grab the better place in the market. It enhances the competitiveness, because more you have the designs with you, more you have the industrial designs with you, more you have the sketch and pattern with you, you are really able to compete with those firms who are not really, which is not really considering the new patterns, new designs before launching the products. So, it guarantee basically ID is giving you the guarantee to a firm that efficient production by minimizing production cost through minimum wastage. So, if you do not have plant, if you do not have plant designed for your product, you might be in the condition to lose your revenue, because you might be having huge cost to pay in the market, because as we know that profit is nothing except the revenue minus the cost. So, if your cost is exceeding because of the poor design, you might not be able to get the profit, because your cost may be equal to the revenue, your cost may be higher than the revenue, and in that case your profit will certainly differ. Industrial design it is one of the intellectual property right which has to be registered for commercial purpose if prohibited by different laws in different countries. It is one of the restricted intellectual property which is not if it is registered, industrial design is registered, others are prohibited not to use such designs. So, the owner of a industrial design that is registered has the right to exclude others from manufacturing, selling or trading such products with a similar design. So, the owner is like patent, the owner is also having an exclusive right to control the entire pattern and design in their hand, and other firms any part of the world is really considered not to be included in the production mechanism which is or the production system which this particular firm is really having due to their industrial design. So, the protection is against copying. So, the protection available to the industrial design by a firm which has the registered industrial design is basically protects that particular firm from copying or substantially copying the registered design. So, even the partial copying is not allowed, even the if the firm is produced with the similar designs, that is not at all accepted by the mother firm, and in that case industrial design protection is one of the important tool for the intellectual property rights. So, protection is granted to the industrial design only when it is registered under the related laws as registered design. So, industrial designs are also protected under patents as design patents in some of the countries. For instance, in United States it comes under the Patents Act. So, unregistered industrial design mechanism is also prevalent in few countries in which time and scope bound protection is awarded without registrations, like in United Kingdom. So, one of the unregistered industrial design mechanism is adopted in United Kingdom, which prevents is also prevalent in few countries in which time and scope bound protection is awarded without registration. So, for some time only the industrial designs are registered, after that a firm is allowed to copy or a firm is allowed to get license or to get involved in adopting those designs. In some countries, based on the legal framework and type of the design, industrial designs are also protected through copyright law. So, we find here that a few countries are putting industrial design as a part of patent system, a few countries are putting industrial design as unregistered industrial design, framing a very time bound and a scope oriented industrial design system, and few countries consider it as one of the intellectual property related to the copyright. So, there are different agreements related to the industrial design. So, the first agreement is the Paris Convention 1883. This was the first international conventions that has discussed the concept of industrial property and its protection, including general standards of protection for industrial designs. So, we find that it is not a very new phenomena, it is a very old phenomena, and the Hague Agreement 1925 also provided a mechanism for registering an industrial design and thereby getting protection in several member countries by filing one application with the International Bureau of WIPO. And then the TRIPS 1995, which is more recent, it also provided for the minimum norms and standards for different categories of intellectual property rights, including industrial designs. So, we find that all these agreements from 1883 to 1995 is accepting industrial design as one of the intellectual property rights and provides some guidelines, rules, laws related to industrial designs protection. So, but there are certain issues related to industrial design, like the issues, some of the issues related to the trademark and copyright, and some of the cases we have discussed in past. Right to industrial design is territorial. The point is industrial design is not the registered industrial design which will apply for entire world, because we find that in some of the country it is related to the copyright, in some of the country it is related to the patent. So, it is not the intellectual property which is globally accepted as registered industrial design, but country to country, territory to territory, we find that a different set of laws and rules are there to protect the industrial design. So, it means that rights conferred are limited to a particular country or a region in which the protection is given. So, currently no international or global rights to international industrial designs prevails. So, usually separate applications for registration in each country is required in which industrial design protection is needed. So, if a firm wants to get industrial design registered in India, they have to have a different separate applications compared to a firm which wants to register industrial design in UK. So, it is not like copyright that you have the ownership of a book, a copyright material in one country, and that is applicable for your copyright on that book to any part of the world. So, like copyright industrial designs are not really global in nature. Some of the other issues are industrial designs are protected to encourage innovative industries by setting up exclusive rights in the new industrial designs. Lacking such rights protection create problem for free riders and unauthorized users. It can easily be duplicated and copied of the development done by others. Due to the no substantial cost in R&D incurred in copying, the product might be undervalued and sold at very cheap price in the market, and it is happening in some of the cases in WTO, which we are also going to discuss in coming lectures, where we have also included industrial design as one of the dispute which is existing in the world today. And we will also try to see that how countries are involved in some disputes related to the industrial design, because it is hampering and damaging the scale of genuine producers. So, if a firm is really developed a refrigerator with their own design, and if other firms are trying to copy the design and they are just making money, then this is one of the unauthorized use, and this is done because there is not any substantial cost involved in copying those industrial designs. It is so easy for a firm to concentrate on such designs, and then those designs are copied, and really it really damages the entire sole purpose of the registered firms which has the industrial design registered in their name. So, this particular discussion is giving us the problem that there are multiple registration applications in different country due to the different type of local laws. Some country accept it as a part of patent, some country accept it as part of copyright. So, one solution to the problem of multiple registration of industrial design in different countries of interest have been resolved by the WIPO Hague Summit. It offers a realistic business solutions and provides a method of registration of maximum 100 industrial designs in a territory by only one single application. So, 100 industrial designs you can collect, and then with one single application you can just register all these 100 industrial designs. Industrial design like other intellectual property rights, it benefits both producer as well as consumer. How it benefit producer? Because when a producer is really developing industrial design, the producer is keen to develop that industrial design for certain incentives, and that incentives is the market share, that incentives are basically the incentives related to their revenue, that incentives is basically the proper decentralization of their resources, and in that case they are the firm who is really having industrial design in their hand, they are in the position to control the entire business. So, as far as the consumers are concerned, industrial designs are basically for the consumers, because the producers are trying to really convince the consumers that this particular product which is designed in a very different way is for your benefit, and you are having a comparative advantage compared to the other firms which has also developed similar products. So, it is very much convincing to the consumer, and basically industrial designs are not consumer unfriendly, but these are the designs which is basically consumer friendly. So, when industrial designs are being done by the engineers, by the professionals, they do care of the existing products available in the market, because they have to compete with other firms available in the market. So, they do not want to really detach the consumers in the entire designing, but they really want to attract the consumers for further benefits. So, industrial design laws are outlined to promote innovations by granting exclusive rights for new inventions, creativity, and acknowledging and protecting special characteristics. So, ultimately, like patent, industrial designs are also for the promoting innovations, and without such promotions, without such promoting innovations, it is indeed important to really think, really have a new generation of the product. We are finding today that smartphones are available in the market, but this smartphone is the part of the industrial design and circuits, because in due course of time from the fixed line we have moved to the mobile phone, and from mobile phone we have moved to the smartphone, and it is not possible without adding the industrial design by the firms. So, firms are keen to design the product, and before launching the product, before producing the product, they are keen to really understand that what consumers are really demanding today, what consumers need today. So, it is industrial design is need based, and industrial design is based on the innovations which is one of the intellectual property by the firms. However, there are issues and challenges for protecting industrial designs, like we have the challenges to protect patent, we have the challenges for the protection of copyright, trademarks. We have also challenge to protect industrial designs, because industrial design like copyright, industrial designs are also easy to copy. So, that is why few countries are keeping industrial design as a part of copyright. So, so culminating in capability of the innovators to exploit on their creations can potentially lead to the situation where too little research and development will occur. So, the point is, if somebody is really rigid to copy the industrial design, firm is without having much expenditure, firm is ready to do it, because there is not any much cost involved in copying of the industrial design like the copyright or like the trademark. So, cost in terms of cost, in terms of monetary cost, it is very less, but all depends on what type of protection and fair and needless use of these rights are available in the country. So, they require the country required, the economy requires a balance between the protection and fair and needful use of these rights. So, if there is a medical instrument which really saves the country, large population of a country, in that case industrial design may be shared with some of the firms in the needy country, but if industrial designs are not really given a better protection system, then all these innovations which is promoting a new types of technology, which is promoting new types of product, which is promoting new types of avenues and incentives to the firms, are really losing its market and competitiveness, because due to these innovations only some of the firms are really leading the market today. So, some of the links are available which will help you to go reading the details on industrial designs, and I hope the entire discussion gives you some idea that how industrial design had a past and how industrial design is really looking for a future. Thank you.